Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah, we're
going?
good.
I'm golden.
Breaking news. Beardos Weirdos is back. And we've got some local talent for you motherfuckers out there. Over the last couple of weeks, we have 4 stories of absolute weirdos in the Cleveland area. A patron of Nico's Bar and Grill was sucker punched by a filthy Georgian on the 30th of January. The Georgia man struck the patron unprovoked and then repeatedly poked him in the face. After that most degrading assault and some shoving, the Georgia man was identified by police. Hopefully this redneck goes back to south of the Mason-Dixon line, leaving this poor patron and the rest of us Yankees in peace. Another bar brawl leads us to Middleburg Heights, to the Islander Grill, where on February 14th, a mother and daughter get into an altercation. After some shoving and kicking, the cops are called, prompting the daughter to flee across the street to a gas station. Bleeding from the hands, the damsel drunk tried entering the gas station while employees held the door shut. When the cops arrived, the woman was caught wielding a gas pump nozzle and screaming. Trying to subdue her, the cops were met with resistance as the woman morphed into a psychotic octopus person, flailing her arms around. She was eventually arrested, kicked the inside of the top window door, so then they had to take her out of that car and put her into another car that had cages. So, and then they figured out that it was all because she was mixing her medication with alcohol. So that's what people in Middleburg Heights do. A woman was hoodwinked in Brook Park on February 2nd by a would-be Mexican cartel member. After receiving the call from the drug lord claiming to have kidnapped her daughter, the woman wired this scammer's $780 ransom request. That's what a white bitch's market value is these days. She later called her daughter, who reported she had unsurprisingly not been abducted and held for ransom. It was at this moment the woman had realized she was the victim of a classic bamboozlement, leaving us all to wonder why wouldn't she have called her daughter prior to wiring the money, and are people from Brook Park even dumber than those rats in Parma? 2 fat men go to McDonald's in Berea, February 16th, where an altercation ensues in the drive-thru over whose arteries should be clogged first. The aggressor was positioned in the outside drive-thru lane, while the other man was in the inside lane. When it was time to move up, the aggressor squeezed his way in front, almost hitting the other man's car. This was most likely due to the intoxicating and entrancing scent of those greasy fried cancer potatoes, which forced the man to ignore proper line etiquette. Obviously, the aggressor got out of his car after the other man honked, striking his window, banging on his hood, and challenging him to throw hands. Hands which most likely belonged to a fat body. He left before the cops arrived. Guy lived in Columbia Station. Other guy didn't want to press charges. And that was it.
I felt bad that he lived in Columbia Station. Mm-hmm. So let's break. Is that all you got? Are those 4?
Those are the 4 stories.
All right. So let's get a little recap here. So we start off and we have, what's the first one? A man from Georgia,
the Georgian,
another man in Nico's bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the Georgian beating up the local drunk.
Unprovoked sucker punched him, apparently.
Wild move.
Move.
And that's a drunken fuel move where like the guy's not even looking, and that guy, the Georgian, was probably just steaming over there at the bar. Like, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. But we have the drunken Georgian, we have the mother and daughter getting blackout drunk, and the daughter destroying a gas station and a police vehicle.
Yeah. She's going absolute bonkers. Can you imagine? If you saw like a woman bleeding from her hands and screaming and trying to get into a gas station while the employees of the gas station were holding the door shut so that she couldn't get in?
Yeah, I like that. She's my MVP out of everybody you said. Like, obviously, Jiggy will do the recap, but she's definitely my MVP because that is just a scene. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I know it's Middleburg Heights, so that's probably just like a Wednesday in Middleburg Heights, but I mean that is a scene.
Yeah, she took the nozzle gas station like hose nozzle and was like whipping that around.
It's borderline
for
impressive.
No reason. Yeah,
I mean,
the description in the video was as she tried to stop the cops from arresting her, she was flailing her arms around. I don't know what that means, but she must have been going psychotic.
Just like fucking going nuts all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's borderline impressive. It's something that rivals the crocodile bath salts dude from Florida eating another man's face. Kicking, they put her in a police car, and she kicked the window out of the police car, so they had to bring another squad car.
Yeah, one with cages.
And that's just the second story here.
Yeah.
The third
That's
story,
all over the last month that this happened around this, people
my
are
favorite part is just them holding the doors. Like that is just that is something I just wish I would pay. Like there should be an OnlyFans account of just people who get footage of just wild patrons in the Cleveland area. I would pay for that OnlyFans for sure.
Yeah.
That would be high dollar.
There's nothing I crave more than just destruction and someone losing their life. Not losing their life in the fact dying, but
losing their mind.
Losing their mind and just
100%.
Just going nuts.
I also like the fact that this probably happens so frequently. This sort of wild shit happens so frequently that the gas station employees were so on top of not allowing her entrance. That doesn't happen in Avon. You get away with that in Avon. If you lose your mind and you're freaking out, the employees at that gas station are not prepared.
No,
to bar entrance. You know what I'm saying?
You're getting your complaints out if you're in Avon. If I did that in Avon, I'm getting my full tantrum. I'm having my moment. In Middleburg Heights,
it's around.
Yeah, and they're just the poor 19-year-old kid just got his hands up, has no idea what to do. He hits his vape a couple times. He's just I don't know, man.
Imagine that job, man. Imagine the job of a gas station clerk. I mean, people joke all the time of Karen's complaining at fucking people at a drive-through at a McDonald's. You're poor kid, he's just working his normal fucking 9-to-5 shift to go through high school. The gas station clerk is another level of you just get the most disrespect every single day.
Yeah, well, and at the night time too, because some of them are open, to 1, 2, Speedway is open late. You get the creatures,
dude. We Hallie and I were in Miami for our honeymoon for a portion of it, and we were at a CVS. It was the only store that was open on beach whatever, that South Beach Boulevard or whatever it is. And we just wanted to get a 6-pack of beer and go back to the hotel. And the fucking lady behind the counter, you could tell it's just not a good situation because they just have the bulletproof glass from the countertop up to the ceiling. Just surrounding this lady, and patrons are just walking throughout. One dude just grabbed a bunch of stuff off random shelves, got to the front of the line, and just put it all on the floor and walked out. Just the absolute disrespect and slaps in the face that fucking gas station clerks and people that work at drugstores get.
Mm-hmm. What about in Akron on they would just at a certain point in time, a certain time of day, when it got past 11, maybe 10 or 11, you just couldn't go in anymore. And they had a window, and that's all you had access to was the window.
They had that little swivel window.
A swivel window.
Fit your hand under it.
Yeah, so you could buy only products that could fit through this window. There was no 30 racks. You couldn't do that at a certain point at night. And it was so funny because if you imagine, it was so frequent that problems walked through the door than non-problems. So at a certain point as a business owner, they were all right, we just can't open the doors anymore past 10.
We are going to handcuff ourselves from a business standpoint because we are just not dealing with it. We're selling cigarettes and lighters. That's
dude. One of the duties of the gas station clerk that goes wildly unnoticed is having to deal with when homeless people are loitering outside and they have to address it. I mean, just that job alone should pay at least $50 an hour. Having to sheepdog homeless people away from your fucking business.
Dude.
Working in home care has made me see the absolute worst, just because one, I'm in people's homes constantly, and two, I'm just driving around all day long. So like I see this in Parma at least weekly, where I'm sitting in a gas station parking lot doing documentation, and there's just a homeless dude sitting in front of on like milk crates, just sitting in front of the store, and the owner's got to come, or the manager's got to come out and be like, sir, you got to get out of here, you can't loiter. And the guy's like, oh, I'm just waiting for my friend. Every homeless person is just waiting for their friend.
Yeah,
And they need to hold $1 from you.
Yeah,
they just need to borrow it.
Yeah, that's such a funny thing, Al, because I was just thinking now, like, how much of a worse person I'd be if I had to be the person that shooed homeless people away. Because it would start off as you're kind of timid, and you would be like, hey, man, like, I'm sorry I got to do this, but you can't hang around here, man. It's not my shop. Like, I can't have it. And then it would turn into just like, dude, I told you this. You can't be here. And then it would end up where like the last stage with like 50 things in between, like 4 years later of doing this, would just be a hose. And I'd just be fucking with a hose until they left.
You just walk out there salting him like Gale the snail.
Yeah, just fucking throwing shit at him, fucking spraying him with a hose.
It would kind of be like Rickety Cricket from Always Sunny, where like his progression just gets like so much worse after the gang ruins his life. Yeah. That's you, like, because at first, yeah, you're gonna be polite about it. Then after that, it's just like the tarp's coming off, like, like you're just spraying this poor guy with a hose. Yeah. You ain't even
and it's
like,
and
politeness
it sucks.
is out the window.
Yeah, and it sucks because that homeless guy, like all the homeless people are like, they're at fault for my soul diminishing.
Yeah.
Like I blame
dude. I'm gonna tell a real quick homeless person story, and Ryan, you might remember this. So Ryan and I were living in Akron, and Ryan had bought like a 30 rack to go to a party. I think he was going to like AU's house. And as Ryan's like walking out of our front door and like turning onto the street to walk towards AU's house, a homeless dude just meets him at like the end of our driveway. And he's like, hey man, can I get $1? Can I get $1? And Ryan's like, nah, man, I'm sorry, I'm busy, and just keeps walking. And the homeless dude's like following him a little bit, like, can I get $1? Come on, man. And Ryan's like, no. And at that moment, Ryan's case of beer breaks. And all of it, like he's got like 3 or 4 cans just laying on the ground, and he's picking them up. And the homeless dude goes to reach for one, and Ryan just fucking swivels his ass around and just boxes this fucking homeless dude out.
Dude, I ripped it out. I ripped the can out of his hand. I ripped the beer out of the fucking bum's hand. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Dude, it was the funniest thing.
I should have just let him have a fucking beer, but also he had a fifth in his hand. Like he wasn't without alcohol.
That's a tough situation. I think nowadays, if that's me, I'm probably just like, yeah, dude, take 2, 3. I don't give a shit. But like in college, no. Like I'm boxing him out Kevin Love style. Like I'm playing for a double-double. Like, you are yeah, not dude. Getting these beer cans.
And back then I needed every beer I could get. It took me like 20 to get buzzed.
Oh, yeah. Tolerance is through the roof. Like you have like negative $500 to your name. Like it's just a bad situation. Like you had to scrounge change to get that case of beer. Like, yeah, this dude is
thankfully at that time we were 21. But when you're 18 or 19 in college and you lose a beer, I'll drink a warm beer when I'm 18. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Someone could have
I would have fought a homeless person for a beer when I was 18.
Oh yeah, somebody could have like stuck their tongue in the beer, and I could have watched it. I'm like, there's still half a beer in there.
So that's the second one. That's the second of 4.
Yeah.
The third is the bamboozlement of paying a ransom, and I love that you pointed out that it was what they pick like 700. It was like a random
$80. Such a bizarre number, but yeah, I was laughing so hard because, like, first of all, the lady doesn't like. Maybe I should call my daughter's phone, and like if she doesn't answer, then maybe there's some merit to this, or like whatever. But or like, hey, like there's not even a question like. My daughter's not worth more than $780. What are we doing? Where are you? Like, where are you that $780 is worth committing a kidnapping?
Rent. Yeah, rent.
It's not worth getting caught and just asking for that little amount of money. Like that should be like red flag, red flag, red flag. But
I'll give you your daughter back if you pay my mortgage for the month.
Just hook me up with my rent for 1 month and we got a deal. I don't know.
And then she probably calls her daughter, and her daughter's like, "Mom, I fucking told you, stop answering the phone unless you know who's calling." For the love of God.
And she did it like 5 more times that weekend, like without a doubt.
Yeah, she's just shelling out hundreds of dollars.
So that's the third.
Got a good heart.
My grandma was such
Yeah,
a G. That happened to her before, and it was a kid like is calling, right? Like a young adult is calling my grandma. And he's like, "Hey grandma, this is it's your grandson. I'm in some trouble. I'm in jail. I need you to send me some money." And she's like, "Who is this, Chris?" She like immediately went to my brother. And he's like, yeah, it's Chris. I just need some money, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "Yeah, go fuck yourself." She fucking hung up. Like she knew it wasn't my brother,
Legend.
It was fucking legendary, dude. You couldn't hoodwink my grandma.
That may be like lower than selling drugs or prostitution. That may be the scummiest way to acquire money.
I think
I think I'd put that below murdering somebody for money.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you on that one. That's just like the only word that comes to mind is like bamboozled. Like when you start bamboozling people, you're a sick fuck.
I've got such a soft spot in my heart for old people. Mm-hmm. And the moment I hear of people getting taken advantage of, it just ignites this thing in me that I just want to go on a killing spree.
Dude, and that's what makes those videos of people recording their conversations with these scammers and acting like old people are the best videos to me. They're so fun because you can just see the scammer get more and more pissed off and more agitated, and they start like screaming at what would be the old person. They're like, "Just give me the card number."
Yeah. Well, so for anybody who doesn't know who's listening, I work in IT, and at the last place I just worked, we used to have a kid who was obsessed with scamming scammers. Obsessed. Like, dude, he like anytime your phone got a call from a scammer, he's like, let me answer. And he used to do that. He used to like get these scammers in so deep. Like he would talk to these people for like 2 hours and they would just get so frustrated with him. And he'd be like, "Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not very good with computers." Like, oh my gosh, he was a menace.
Dude, that's incredible. If we all do that as a society and make the scammers' life so hard, like they're wasting 2 hours per call, like if we all do that as a society, then they might stop. Like if everyone was on board to do that, then they might stop. They might be like,
if everybody comes together and scams the scammer.
This isn't worth it anymore. Every time I call someone, they're like, "Fucking, I think I got him. But I don't."
And then what was the last one you brought up?
Oh, the dude's fighting in the McDonald's
drive-through.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
right when McDonald's created the double drive-through,
you asked for.
I was like, this is gonna be a problem. Like this is gonna create issues because
I personally
it's that exact moment, like when people both think that they're like, it's my turn to get greasy French fries. It's not your turn yet to get greasy French fries. It's my turn.
Somebody won't even begin moving, and I have already plotted out how it's gonna go. And in my mind, I'm already like, "Fuck you, bitch! Don't even think about moving forward." It's my turn.
There's nothing worse too than like when you're up and then somebody pulls to like the right lane and they get like help before you. Oh, carnage. Like
that's not that. I'm not mad at them for that. I'm mad at myself. I'm like, "Why'd you pick this line, you dumb idiot fucker?"
Oh yeah, I'm not
pick
mad
the wrong line, you idiot.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna get pissed off at the 14-year-old who's stoned out of his mind, just like keeps hitting the same button, like, "Go ahead with your order." I can't be mad at him. It's on me.
Right. And that's the same thing with like being at like the DMV or something like that. And you're in line and like you just pick the wrong window, man. You just picked the wrong window. And these people next to you are just fucking filing in and out. They're already, and you're just stuck behind the one lady that's like, "I have this. Is this right?" And you're like, "Figure it out or get the fuck out of my life."
Yeah, you get stuck behind the one lady who's just got everything other than what she needs at the
Right.
DMV.
Right.
Like, yeah, she's got like her third grade report card, but she doesn't have her social security number. Like,
I've got postage, man.
yeah, like
DMV.
again, we need an ID.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
fucking
Dude, I
love
always
that.
feel like when I'm in line at the DMV, I have the same feeling there that I do when I'm moving through like the fucking, why am I forgetting the name of it? Like security at the airport, where like I'm just so afraid where I'm like, just don't yell at me. I'm trying my best. I thought I brought everything I needed to bring.
You're right. Like you feel like you're being like graded or like judged
Yeah,
based
dude.
on like how you perform at the DMV. It's a high pressure situation.
And you're
'Cause
being judged by who?
Yeah, but like there are
Someone that
people
makes
who do
someone that
the-
makes the bare
the-
minimum amount of money in the city government.
The,
but it's
the
the
people
danger.
that are
Fuck.
the people that are working that counter, they won't even make if someone makes eye contact with you, you caught them on a special moment.
Yeah.
Every single time I've been at the DMV, they're like, okay, give me your ID. They're not even looking at me. They're looking all around, just getting the job done so I can get the fuck out of their face and they can get the next person in line.
Yeah, it's wild though that they, in terms of the ratio between power and money received, they're on the most obscure end of that ratio. Like they make no money and have the most power. Like there's the largest gap with employees at the DMV in the entirety of the United States.
Couldn't say it better than that.
So good Beardos Weirdos. Way to kick that off. We'll move over into our legit or shit segment. I don't have any music anymore. It's all gone, but I'll just do it. Is it legit? Yeah. Or is it shit? All right.
All right.
Legit or shit. So the first one I have is dieting during the Super Bowl. Bill Burr was just on this Monday morning podcast like a couple weeks ago talking about it was a Monday directly after the Super Bowl, and he was saying like, yeah, we had all these people over, and luckily, and he had a movie coming up. He's like, I got a movie coming up, so I'm dieting, but luckily I avoided everything else. I just had some raw vegetables, cucumbers, celery, and just a salad. I held off, but I don't think that you can diet during the Super Bowl. Legit or shit, dieting during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
no, I'm definitely with you. That's a shit move, in my opinion. It's like, it's one of those days where calories don't count, right? Like, you can't just like be like, guys, I'm taking it easy, because usually, like, if you ever go to like an actual Super Bowl party, like people usually like go way over the top. And it's so funny because it's like, it's people who go over the top and like they don't even have a team that's close to being in the Super Bowl. It's like,
Right.
yeah, let's watch this Rams and Bengals game, or like, Patriots like Falcons, and like we have nothing close to an allegiance to like either. So it's just like, these people go all out. They get like 6,000 wings. Like they just have shelled out so much money. So like you kind of just got to like swallow your pride on that one and just be like, yeah, you know what? I'll have a couple wings and let me get some slices of pizza. Let me grab a beer or two. Like you can't be the guy who's like, oh, I'm not eating. Like that kind of makes you an asshole, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, January, it's shit, by the way. So clearly shit. I agree with you, AC. January is the month to do like the whole 30-day diet thing. It's the start of the year. You clean yourself up. February comes around and it's like, all right, cool. This is like a reward for that 30 days that I just did. It's the best food day minus Thanksgiving and Christmas is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, it's the best fucking food,
You get slider. This year I made sliders,
Dude.
fucking pizza, wings is a given.
And
you're right.
It's always a given.
You hit the nail on the head,
always
AC.
there.
People just go way, way overboard for the Super Bowl. My mom doesn't know any rule about football other than the fact that there's touchdowns, and she will cook her ass off to feed like 50 people, and there's like 8 of us.
Yeah.
Every Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, people just go over the top, and like, if you're hosting, Like you're just one of those people in general. Like you're not hosting if you're not one of those people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like you just gotta like suck it up and be like, look, I'll eat bad for one day. Like, come on, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
You know,
we were absolutely ground sausage in a casing at my dad's house, dude. There was like 30 people there, and he does not have the biggest place. And you know, every time someone went up to get food, my dad's like, "Hey, eat it up, eat all of it, as much as you want, eat it up." So, like, dude,
I love that about your dad.
Yeah, it was relentless, and I was just like cracking up. But yeah, he had
that.
way too much fucking food, and he obviously when you're leaving, he's like, "Hey, take it home, take some home." Like, Dad, no, because I'm not fucking eating this shit all week, and because I'll gain 10 fucking pounds, so I don't want it.
Yeah, just the Super Bowl night. After that, you're good.
Right.
Like,
I'm
go
not
back
saying
to your diet the next day.
100%. You don't need to diet through that day. It's one day.
No. Yeah, it's just one.
That that's such a funny move too. That and I do it whenever I host too, just because I want to make sure everyone's having a good time. But I'm like, yeah, man, help yourself. You know, we got beers, we got food over here. It's like obviously I can fucking see, asshole. You don't need to point out where everything is.
Yeah.
And it's my dad, literally the whole length of his fucking house. He's screaming to the people that like "Hey, yeah, get it up, get it up." I'm like,
I think as a host,
Ah.
you just want like that satisfaction that like people are eating up your food. Like you just want that like gratification yourself. So like I completely get it. Like I'd probably do the same if I was hosting. So I can't even like hate on it.
Yeah. But speaking of Super Bowl, the next legitter shit, I'm gonna go shit on that as well. But the next legitter shit is we see this with whenever there's something big happening on Twitter, there's always the virtue signaling dads or moms that put out a post about their kid to almost make people feel bad for taking the focus away for other issues. So the big one that was circulating around the Super Bowl was this guy tweeted, he's like, here, I'm going to pull it up because AC actually took a screenshot of it, which was perfect. Yeah. But the dude goes, me to my 8-year-old, who do you want to win, the Bengals or the Rams? My 8-year-old, what difference does it make? It's not like the winner is going to solve climate change. Super Bowl weekend in the Schreiber Sullivan household got heavy real quick. Fuck you and fuck your kid. Shit, 100%. And I hate the fact that that people are going to be like, oh well, the kids say the craziest things. No, they don't. They don't.
No. This is a unanimous shit. 100%. I mean, there is no way you can justify that this kid actually said this. Beardo is very passionate.
No, dude, I
gotta let him unleash.
I have one passionate take, and it's obviously that little fucking 8-year-old kid has a fucking hyphenated name. Obviously, both of the fucking it's just he's a Schreiber Sullivan. You fucking
that is
shout out to that bastard child.
Yeah,
dude,
it's just
so
we get
no, they're
this,
so
like,
progressive. I mean, Alex,
took
his father and his mother's name. Obviously,
maybe they could have. They could have had premarital sex.
I doubt it, dude.
Nobody has premarital sex.
No, not in this economy. But you know,
her name is Schreiber.
Schreiber Smith or whatever the fuck is this? Schreiber Sullivan. Schreiber Sullivan. But yeah, we get this like once a week now. Like anytime anything happens, like somebody uses their kid to like grease their likes up and everything. And it's like, that's like the biggest asshole move, like in social media today. Like some of the stuff you read is just so outlandish. Like, yeah, dude, when I was 8 years old, there was no global climate change running through my brain. It was just like, I hope I can have chicken nuggets for dinner. And like, I hope that Matt Stafford throws a touchline for me. You know, like, come on.
My biggest thought process was like, how can I get the kickball to go further?
Yeah.
Like, where am I angling my foot wrong that I'm not getting maximum torque?
Yeah.
Like that was the fucking full extent of my thought capabilities.
I don't think
fuck this guy. And guess who fucking started all this shit? It's that Greta Thunberg.
Yes.
She opened the floodgates up for this stupid world that we live in to start caring about what prepubescent people think. I don't care what any prepubescent person says. unless they're in my family and I'm just listening to their like nonsensical words that make me laugh.
It's that stupid ass subtle little thing where like it's basically the person going, makes you think, huh? Makes you think that we don't put our priorities in the right place. It's like I can have my priorities in the right place and still watch football without your stupid ass 8-year-old being, oh, climate change, suck a dick.
Yeah, nothing your 8-year-old can say is going to like be existential to me. No. Like ever. So
like, and how about the people? How about the people backing the dude up, being like, "Yeah, kids say some crazy things. I can attest." It's like let's figure out another thing we can all argue about.
I also love the top comment though. It's like, so who do you want to win, the Bengals or the Rams? What difference does it make? It's not like the winner's going to solve climate change. I love the fucking top comments. He doesn't know that.
Aaron Donald single-handedly fixing global climate change.
So the next thing real quick, and I'm going to have to do some jerry rigging over here because we have 6 minutes left in this current recording and I'll have to pop us off and start a new recording. But the MLB and the MLBPA, do they get a deal done this week or not? Legit or shit?
Shit. This is definitely going to drag out, in my opinion. Anytime, like baseball is one of those things where it's like, I still love baseball. I still try to defend baseball because I do think baseball is great, but it's getting harder and harder to be in the corner of the baseball side because this is a sport. It's fully dying. Like kids do not give a shit about baseball like they did when we were growing up. That's just the world we live in. You know, they care about basketball. They care about these crazy highlights. They care about the Odell Beckhams, the Steph Currys of the world. Kids don't give a fuck about who Mike Trout is. Kids don't even know who Mike Trout is, and he's the best baseball player on the planet. So it's like baseball is dying as it is. Like you got to do some shit to like kind of get these kids involved and everything like that. And they're just so focused on the wrong stuff. Like just play, man. Like just play and figure out how to grow your sport because baseball is just running away right now. In my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. I was telling Alex this, last week, Al, when we were discussing this arbitration. And I was like, dude, I don't know what leg these players have to stand on. They're like asking for all this money. They're looking for all this stuff. And it's like, dude, it's not the NBA and it's not the NFL. Like they look at the comparative pricing and they're like, dude, I want to make that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, unless you're a pitcher or Mike Trout, you're not going to make those huge bucks because who's bringing all this money in 20 years? This is going to be it's going to be like going to a Crushers game when you go to a fucking ballpark. It's already getting close to that, considering the fact that there's 180 games and a lot of those are played Tuesday or, Monday through Thursday when everyone's at work and it's in the middle of the day and they get maybe a quarter of the stadium filled in 75% of the market. Unless you're outside of New York or LA, like, dude, you're not the people in Milwaukee are not going to filling up their stadium on a fucking Tuesday. Are you fucking kidding me? There's not enough people in the city and they're all working.
I think the problem is the problem is the MLB. It's not. I don't think that the problem is baseball. The game of baseball is
they just won't adapt.
This is a biased opinion because I love it, but the MLB is ruining the MLB because Rob Manfred sucks. There's not a single promotional thing that the MLB has done that can bring in youth and actual entertainment value. They go after stupid shit like when Mike Clevenger was here, he wore like colorful cleats and they like fined him 20 grand. And it's like that's the shit that you're gonna get hung up on. The NBA is over here. The NBA won't even drug test their players anymore. They're like, do whatever you want. Let's just have some fun. And people fucking dig it. But the MLB is like, oh, you took Adderall. We're going to fucking suspend you for 60 games. Rob Manfred needs to wake up and just be like, just let the fucking floodgates open. Let people play baseball because it's America's pastime. People like to do it. Everybody grows up playing it. It's during the summer. You literally got the best fucking season of the year. You can get people out. You can have drinks. It's literally put up on a tee for baseball to be super popular for everybody. And they just, they don't do a good job.
And the big one for me is highlights. Like, they are so strict when it comes to like posting highlights online. Like, dude, if Steph Curry rips a 3 from half court, you see it on Twitter everywhere, House of Highlights, Instagram, everything in like 10 seconds. Like, the NBA does a great job with just being like, yeah, post whatever you want. MLB, like, you show there's a nice diving catch, or some dude goes yabo for like 475 yards. Like they are just like, no, like ripping it down off Twitter. Like, they don't want anybody to see it. And it's like, well, dude, like, we're in the social media era. How do you think these kids are going to see stuff? They're not going to sit down in the living room with a tray like we did when we were kids and be like, all right, Indians, White Sox time. Like, no, they're going to get their stuff from Twitter. So the fact that you're just going to shut that down, there goes like a huge opportunity of growth.
And for us, it's like, I don't care. Like, I'll as many games as I can watch, I will. I do for the Indians. Yeah. And I gave up on the NBA. Like, I fucking just can't do it anymore. And I hate that, but I'm like the exact opposite a little bit. Like, I'm fine watching a game, but some days I'm sitting there and even me, I'm like, God damn, fucking 3.5 hours later. And it's like the 8th inning. I'm like, this fucking game, dude, they don't know how to fucking pick this fucking pace of play up, dude.
Yeah.
Then it's really going to die, because kids nowadays, they're going from TikTok video to TikTok video to TikTok video, and it's all gratification, instant gratification on a short little video. Like, no kid is going to sit and watch a fucking 4-hour baseball game. Promise you that.
100%.
All right. So that concludes legit or shit. On to the leaderboard, which I also don't have any more music for, but we're just going to wing it. So, the leaderboard on the Get Your Fixins podcast. All right, so here we are.
So easily.
The big thing that I saw recently, and I haven't seen a ton of info on it, so maybe if you guys have more, you can fill me in. But this deal that was made between the NFL and the XFL. Have you guys seen this at all?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically they just made the XFL a farm system for the NFL. And I'll kind of kick it off. I think it's a fucking awesome deal. I mean, the NFL has just really been needing a farm system. I know that every team has a practice squad, but throwing football on during the spring and summer is an awesome idea. I think that's what XFL is going to do, unless it's
so it's
USFL.
It's not like a player farm system. Yeah.
But they kind of have a deal between the two sides where like NFL like officials will go there and like work on skills.
Yeah,
and work on new ideas and shit there.
Right. So, it's like a coaches and officials and stuff like that. But they don't have like teams. It's not like a minor league team
for sure.
Where like an NFL team has rights to any team player.
But I think for sure they don't have any rights to it, but like it's going to inherently act like that. I mean, when they first did it, I think it was the XFL or whatever the other football league was. There's been like 6 in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
But like Taylor Heineke came out of that.
XFL.
And now
Yeah.
XFL. Yeah. So like naturally there are going to be players that are on these rosters that are going to look really, really good. And then they're going to become like a third string wide receiver somewhere or a middle linebacker somewhere, they're going to make their way up.
Yeah. And so basically they came out and said, oh, it's not a farm system type deal, but that's 100% what it's going to be. And for the NFL, the reason they made this deal, when you really break it down, is so that they can take stuff from the XFL and not get like sued or accused of stealing ideas. Like, oh, we have a partnership. That's the big thing. That's the main purpose of the deal, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, NFL football in general has always needed like some sort of developmental league. Now you got the USFL, which shout out to Paxton Lynch, who was a first round pick, just got drafted in the 12th round of the USFL draft. Yeah, which is just wow, what a plummet. But yeah, I just think that this is what football needs. Everybody loves football. You know, people talk about the concussions and everything, but I don't think football's ever going away. Football's always going to be there. People are addicted to football. It's like a drug. Like you can be so mad at your team. Like you can be a Detroit Lions fan, a Miami Dolphins fan, a Browns fan. Like you can root for shitty teams and be like, I'm so done with this team. But when Sunday rolls around, you're always going to be back. So
you're going to be watching. You're going to be
agree more, dude.
Yeah, we need this big time.
Yeah.
Have we seen the teams for the USFL?
Yeah.
I gotta pull them up because a couple of them are like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's a lot of them. And it's one of my favorite things is that Jeff Fisher is coaching. Man, the man was in a Super Bowl. Now he's in the USFL coaching Shea Patterson. Yeah, they drafted Shea Patterson first overall.
So we have the Michigan Panthers change the name. The name. We have the New Jersey Generals, I guess. Philadelphia Stars, which is a hockey team, correct? No, the Dallas Stars, Philadelphia Flyers. But Philadelphia Stars, you already got a team. Pittsburgh Maulers, and the guy's holding like a Steeler thing. Like he's like a freaking hammer, like a sledgehammer.
He's like a blue collar guy.
The Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham's in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there, aside from college football, there's no NFL even close down there. No Mississippi, no Missouri, St. Louis. There's
only 8 teams.
RIP. Yeah, Houston Gamblers, the New Orleans Breakers, and the Tampa Bay Bandits. Never knew there were Cowboys in Tampa Bay, but we'll go with it. So the Tampa Bay Bandits. Whatever on the names. The Michigan Panthers change it. I mean, the colors couldn't be uglier. The fucking jersey thing. You know what's funny? So
unless there was a city in Michigan named Dillon.
That's true, but it's not even a remotely close logo. It looks legitimately like the Florida Panthers fucking logo, but it's like a maroon and like royal baby blue color.
It's bad.
It's bad. And then like a gold, like a brownish, like mustard gold. It's weird.
Like I love
that. Looks okay. I'm looking at it now, and their logo looks absolutely like a Division IV college logo.
It looks like something you would see in the movie The Comebacks, the parody football movie.
all of these jerseys suck.
They're so bad, but that's what I love.
You can see them. They all legit. They all legitimately look like.
Really bad.
Like they look like B-roll shot for a football commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what all of these jerseys. Actually, let's see. The blue and the black one, the Houston Gamblers, I think that's actually not a bad looking jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like borderline like Tennessee Titans look to it. But I just love all these team names because they just took the most generic team names they could find. They threw them all in a hat and they're like, all right, everybody pick one. This is your team.
Like Madden create a team. They just hit random.
Yeah. They went to create a team and then they just hit accept on all the defaults. They didn't make any changes. Like these team names are so bad that they're good. I love it.
What do you guys think the talent level is going to be like? I mean, when you're talking Power 5 conferences in the NCAA, like all those teams are, 85% of them have great coaches, right? And those coaches have drafted, for the most part, their entire team. They have been coaching the same kids for, anywhere from 2 to 4 years, and they are in a system and they do not fuck up, for the most part. Like they don't make mistakes. They look polished. And that's why I always say like the NCAA comparative to the NFL, like, there's a different speed to the NFL and you can tell, but I think that it's the smallest gap between any college sport and any professional sport. In terms of when you're watching it on TV, you can visibly see like that college hoops compared to the NBA, like college hoop guys, they look just dreadful comparatively. And like, I mean, I guess I don't watch volleyball enough, but you could probably say like those college chicks probably look pretty close to like pro college girls, but like, I don't know.
I think you're going to see. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess my question is like, do you think we're gonna watch this and it's gonna be like, fuck, man, these teams don't have their shit together. Like college looks more polished. Like that's where kind of my head's gonna be at with this.
Yeah.
It's gonna kind of more look like a Canadian football league than
It's
Yeah,
gonna look
I
like
think-
the XFL did when they tried to bring the XFL back in 2019. Like it's gonna
All
be
of
a
these-
bad product, in my opinion. Yeah.
It's gonna be secondhand football. I mean,
Yeah.
and the only position that's going to look decent is going to be cornerbacks, because every cornerback in the world, unless you're like Darrelle Revis in his prime or Richard Sherman, you're a dime a dozen. Most cornerbacks are just okay, and I feel like you're going to see a shitload of decent
Interceptions.
cornerback play, a
Yeah.
lot of interceptions,
Yeah.
and wide
Yeah, you're gonna
receivers
see a
that
lot
can't.
of turnovers. Yeah.
Yeah, the
running
league,
backs will be fine too.
yeah,
Mhm.
the league will probably have like 2 or 3 star receivers that would be a third or fourth string on any NFL roster. One quarterback that shines through that might get a shout out on like the fucking Carolina Panthers in 2 years. Like I think that's what we'll see.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's going to be probably the hottest position, considering the fact that the NFL is absolutely like hemorrhaging at quarterback. Like,
yeah.
they need quarterbacks, and
There's
they'll give
5
anyone
good
a shot.
quarterbacks.
It feels like, yeah.
Yeah. There's like 5 elite guys who can change the game, and then everybody's just a dude. Like
Right.
it's just everybody else. You know, like you need a
6'4".
good team. Yeah.
I do feel
Paxton Lynch, 6'7", but he's in the USFL. You know?
I really do feel though that at least at starting quarterback, the NFL has gotten a pretty big influx of dudes.
Mhm.
And like guys that are competent and can carry a team. I mean, most teams, I mean, like think of, I don't know, like Tom Brady's gone now, RIP.
But you got like Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, you got Joe Burrow, you got Josh Allen, you got Aaron Rodgers. After that, like I don't care who I have. Like, you know, like
yeah.
it's those 5 and then everybody else to me.
Yeah, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of like the next guy, and like
Like who are you gonna throw up there? Kyler Murray? Like
I wouldn't put anyone like at their
Deshaun
level, but I would
Watson
say
when he's
like
cleared.
I would say it, as much as I hate to say it, like I'm
Like Justin Herbert.
I'm not.
well, I threw him in there. Yeah,
did,
Herbert's
yeah.
top 5. Yeah,
I'm not. I think right below those guys, you're like talking like Lamar Jackson, maybe.
yeah, and those
Which
guys
I'm not
are
upset
great
about
quarterbacks.
having. You know, if
No.
if he's on my team, but
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he's not like, I don't know. In my honest opinion, like it's just, I mean, it's inevitable until Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson like fucking has an ACL tear or something fucked up or concussion or something like that. Like, dude, you can't be running around the ball when you're like fucking 28 years old and 30 years old. You're gonna get fucked up.
yeah.
Um,
He's already started to like decline. I feel like
Yeah, for
He
sure. This last
definitely
year,
is,
he
like,
wasn't
peaked.
fantastic.
no, he's peaked already. Like
Yeah.
I don't know that he's gonna. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't know. You just can't make a career out of that running around shit, man.
Yeah, you also have to think too, like every time they're running, like it was like running back chaos in fucking Baltimore this year. Like every guy
Yeah.
that came up, it was cursed to die.
Yeah, like J.K.
Yeah.
Dobbins like tearing his knee open in the preseason. Like fuck, that ain't a good start.
Right. They were just paying the bus driver to come run the ball for him at the end of the year.
Yeah, like they literally like.
Oh,
were
you
trying
mind
to
coming
pull-
in and run the ball for us?
They still put up like 100 yards on the Browns, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Just yanking guys off the practice squad.
Yeah.
But
the Browns.
yeah,
That's a different
jeez.
story.
But the next thing on this is Jordan Peele's new movie coming out called Nope. Kind of debuted during the Super Bowl. The trailer, you just got a bunch of people fucking looking in the sky, not seeing anything. I'd imagine there's going to be another trailer coming out with a little bit more. But I do kind of think the title's pretty funny. That's like a pretty stereotypical what you'd see on like Twitter or like our generation dealing with like scary shit where, you know, it's the classic why is the fucking hot chick walking up to the scary attic and everyone's like, nope, I ain't fucking doing that.
Yeah, like,
So
I'm out.
it's pretty funny. I like that little play on it, but I wish I would have gotten a little bit more out of the thing other than, but I guess this is pretty typical for a Jordan Peele movie. Like it's just
Right.
really
A lot of
bland.
mystery. Mhm.
A lot of mystery, but usually it ends up being pretty good. So I'm not gonna lie, I'll see it. I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Jordan Peele is, you look at the titles of the movies. It's like Get Out, Nope, Us. It's very like, you don't get much there. And I kind of like that a little bit. Just nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, and just to give you like the brief one sentence summary that you get with Nope, because there isn't a lot out on there right now. Caretakers at a California house ranch encounter a mysterious force that affects human and animal behavior. So this is just a typical Jordan Peele type thing. It's always out of the box. It's always like, crazy shit. You don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, I'm in on this. I like, Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
I think he's done a pretty good job. So, I mean, I'm definitely in on this.
I like that. I like
Same.
that they got like the freaking inflatable arm man thing, and there's like a ton of them. Like I could already feel like that's gonna play in, like the wind shifts, and then everyone's like, "Fuck, we're screwed."
Yeah.
I also think that he missed
excited.
perfectly on a like double entendre to play off what the Get Out. It should have been like, I'm out. I'm out. Nope, I'm out.
I'm out.
But
that would
But
have been a nice little sequel.
right. But yeah, I mean, I like those, like the weird sci-fi movies where like, I almost like those movies too, that as much as they piss me off, they're intriguing the whole time you're watching it. And like, I feel like this is going to be one of those movies where the whole time you're like, what is it that they're fucking, and then it's like never going to tell you. And you're always going to be wondering what the fuck that they're looking at. And it's
Like,
just
oh yeah, kind of like a Happening situation with Mark Wahlberg, where like ultimately you find out that like the trees don't like us anymore.
yeah, like it's gonna be like I don't know if it's gonna be like at the end I'm gonna be let down, or if it's never gonna show me what, I don't know. But,
I mean, I'll be totally honest. I'm not expecting this movie to be a home run. I mean, I don't even think all of his movies are home runs. I just like the idea behind what he does and how he sets up his movies and that sci-fi shit. Like I'm a sucker for that. Like sci-fi, out of the box, anything that's just different, and it's not the cookie cutter, like,
yes,
good guy wins in the end, guy gets the girl.
Yes.
Matt McConaughey gets Kate Hudson at the end.
yeah.
Like,
that's 98% of American cinemas.
Matthew
McConaughey having sex.
98% of movies are just Matt McConaughey always getting the girl in the end. So I mean, this is a little different. So I do like that.
Yeah, and I also like how all of his trailers for all of his movies didn't reveal anything. And like, dude, that is part of the intrigue. Like, I want to go watch this. I want to go figure out what this is all about. And like nowadays, like you'll sit in the movie theater and watch a trailer, and you're gonna be like, I just fucking watched that movie. I know exactly what's going to happen. Because you just played it all out.
And it works that he has
too long.
This fucking movie.
True. Yeah. And it works that he has a good track record too. Like if his movies sucked and they revealed nothing, I'd be like, I'm not gonna go. But
he reminds me of like an M. Night Shyamalan.
Dude, shout out M. Night Shyamalan, dude. Do either of you guys have Apple TV Plus?
No.
It's the Apple TV streaming service, but there's a show on there called Servant. Fucking really good. Shout out M. Night.
Shammy.
But moving on to other shit that's going to be on streaming services, and this is the last topic I have for the leaderboard. We could do some post-show afterthoughts if we'd like after this, but new Lord of the Rings Amazon Prime TV show coming out. The trailer aired. Ryan can kind of give more of a accurate breakdown on this than me, but I'm just super excited because I love anything Tolkien. So, Ryan, what do you think?
I mean, it's going to be an awesome story, I mean, so Tolkien had like a lot of works that just weren't published, and he wrote a lot about that Middle Earth realm, and there's a bunch of different stories, and there was arbitration and like legality even involved, like with a lot of I guess not legality, but there was a lot of like pressure on studios on like the Tolkien estate to like give them access to his work so they could like potentially make movies and screenplays and stuff like that. And his son Christopher is like in charge of it all now, and like he was like, no, I'm not doing that. And like, good on him, because like he probably is making a fucking bunch of fucking money off this deal, because the rights to this fucking show itself was like $1 billion. Like, it was fucking insane amount of money just to buy the rights to the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I mean, and I don't know about $1 billion, but a lot of millions.
I mean,
a large amount of money.
I can guarantee there was a bidding war between every major streaming platform.
Yeah,
and it's just the fact that you have Jeffrey Bezos back in Amazon that they got it.
Well, Amazon needed it. You know, they don't have like a hit show like HBO had Game of Thrones. Netflix has like Stranger Things and a bunch of different fucking hitters.
Yeah.
But Amazon Prime needed their hitter, and this was it. And they just paid a lot of money for really one giant hitter. It's going to be awesome. So basically, a quick synopsis of what it's going to probably be is like all the rings that they explain in the beginning of the first movie, you know, like the 9 for the men, the 7 for the dwarf lords, and 5 for the elves, or however many it is for everyone. And so it's going to be like the beginning of like Sauron's reign and all that, and like how he comes to power in Mordor and all that shit. And there's going to be characters obviously that we don't know because this is far, far before anyone in the movie. I mean, Elrond, I think, is actually going to be like a character that plays a young Elrond, and maybe a young Galadriel will be in it. But other than that, you're not going to see anybody.
I think this is the absolute perfect way to go about doing a Lord of the Rings story. Just with the way that we've been able to see HBO and all these other streaming platforms really draw out a story and give like a ton of details. Like, you need that 10 hours. Like, yeah, you absolutely do.
Per episode.
Right. It sounds fucked up, but like even like a 4 hour, like once you start getting past 3 hours for a movie, you start to lose some people. You don't lose me, but like I can't.
You lose a lot of people.
I can't take my wife to go see a 3 hour Lord of the Rings movie. She'll be like, I'm gonna be checked out the whole time. Yeah. But if you get into a show and you write some fucking really good dialogue and get people involved, that's the best way you're going to be able to tell these Tolkien stories, which are, you know, a godsend essentially.
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. Like, I love the original 3, The Hobbit and everything. They were whatever to me. I wasn't a huge fan, but I love the original 3. And like the thing with Lord of the Rings is they have such a strong following that I do think this is going to skyrocket it and, you know, go to the moon. I'm not going to sit here and say I think the quality is going to be great, or I think it's just going to be as good as the movies, because all those movies are home runs. Like, those movies were putting up like old like Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Like, those were some fucking hits.
Yeah, dude.
Like, those were some hits. The original 3. So, you know, I'm going to watch just because I am a huge fan, but, you know, I don't expect a ton. It's just, for me, it's more the nostalgia, I think, than anything. Because I don't know how you follow up like 3 insanely good movies like that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I mean, I think it has potential to be great. I mean, there's not a lack of. The thing is that there's not a lack of
content,
information, and content for them to pull from. Like, it's not like they have to create it. Like, dude that is dead already fucking created all of it, and it's all written down. Like, he has the characters. He has like dude wrote down like shit about weapons. Like, that existed back then. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, there's not a lack of information. So a good director and a good screenplay writer, like a good, you know, creator of dialogue, like this could be a home run. The only thing I would want to see is what I wish was I wish there was a clause during the bidding war for the rights to this that said, if there's a Game of Thrones situation and you have 6 amazing seasons and then you fuck it up and you don't end it right, then the United States, everyone that has a Prime membership can file a class action lawsuit against you if you fuck this up on us.
Yeah, that'd be a ton.
We all get paid $20.
We all get our money
dished out at $17.
We all get a free month.
What a deal.
Yeah.
That's like that old lawsuit where somebody sued Red Bull because they're like, hey, didn't give me wings. So Red Bull just gave them like a 4-pack of Red Bull for free. And then like 1 million people did it, and then they paid those out, and then they stopped putting that label on everything.
Yeah. What do you say in that situation other than go fuck yourself? Like, there's nothing really to say. Like, dude, come on. Like, give me a break here, kid. You know,
Right.
it's like the scene in Joe Dirt where he's like, "Hey, what's rule number 3?" It's like, kid, give me a fucking break. Like, yeah, that's the slogan. I ain't actually gonna give you wings. Like, come on, man. I am a like low level employee making $12 an hour. Like, come on, kid. Like, don't drag me through the mud here.
For sure. But I'm fucking pumped about the Lord of the Rings. Again, I think this is the best way that you can go about possibly telling this story by writing this massive thing. And one thing that actually gives me hope, and I'll kind of wrap up my point with this and we can end, is and if you guys want to say anything afterwards, you can. But looking at series like Boba Fett and what fucking the
Star Wars.
Yeah, like why am I forgetting the Mandalorian? Like looking at what Disney has done with like the Star Wars story of writing up all these little side plots and everything, and they've done a really good job with it. I haven't watched Boba Fett, but the Mandalorian's good. Kind of gives me a little bit of hope that in the right hands, they can really make this into something sweet.
Yeah, I mean, even like any show, like any Netflix show and all these things, like Stranger Things could have been a movie. Like it could have been 3 movies, you know, like 3 of the Goonie type movies, and it would have done numbies, and you know, they would have made a bunch of money. But what they have figured out is like that good directors are willing now to make these shows because it's so easy to get in. It's not like HBO back in the day when you had to have it on your cable package and only those people could watch it. Like HBO is on a million things now. It's on your Roku app. It's on, you know, you can download it onto a million different things, and it's so easily accessible.
Yep.
Yeah. And everyone's watching now. So like these big directors are like, dude, there's money to be made. So you're just getting better actors, better directors, better writers to make these shows. And the consumer gets way more content because there's way more detail added in, 10 hours in one season than a 2-hour movie. So everyone wins, you know, like actors get paid more. Like we're getting better content. Like it's like all these, like they're like Game of Thrones, like that was every episode was like movie quality. You know, like you watched a half of a movie every fucking episode. It was insanity.
The budget for each episode was like laughable.
And it's going to be more. This show is going to be bigger budget. Like, so it's going to be good. I mean, unless they absolutely fuck it up, which I can't imagine. Like I think in my opinion, it's going to be top 5 show of all time.
Wow.
I hope so. It certainly has that potential.
Dude, before Game of Thrones came out on HBO and I said that, you'd be like, that's a claim. That's wild. But now, if it wrapped up how it should have, you know,
it's just,
and those fucking writers and those directors only fucking wrap that up like shit because they got the Star Wars deal to do the new Star Wars movies. And then after they realized that they fucked up, Star Wars pulled out. So really they did it for no fucking reason, which really sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's just hard. It's hard to follow up is my thing is because I think you're just going to be comparing it to everything else. And like I said, man, when you put up big numbers like they did with the first 3 movies, that's tough to follow. I mean,
it is, but at the same time, what's great about this is like everybody's going to want to watch this show.
Oh,
so
100%.
It's not like you're going to have to convince people to watch it. Everyone's going to watch it. Numbers are going to be great. So as long as you start good, then there's just going to be more money to put into every season.
Yeah. I mean,
it should only progressively get better. As long as the first season's good, it should only get better.
Yeah.
Which makes me believe that it could absolutely be like the best show, one of the top 5, top 10 best shows.
Yeah, and it debuts in September. So
I mean,
we're getting a lot quicker than I thought.
It was on fucking AMC.
Yeah,
like what are we doing?
Yeah. Hey, and if it fails, like we always say, there's always next year.
There's always next year.
There's always also the original 3.
And then just rewatch those.
Just over and over again. But that wraps up the show. Get Your Fixins podcast is back. We're gonna strictly just do YouTube stuff. It might not be as long as it went tonight, but I'm glad that we just kind of we're able to catch up and do our thing again. Scroll the mouse on down, hit subscribe if you're on an iPhone, like you should. Just scroll the fucking phone down a little bit and click subscribe. We're gonna try to do episodes every week. We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna stick to any plan or anything, but thanks everybody for tuning.
We're just winging it.
Just winging it. I needed to get my fix on sports and talking with my guys again. So Thanks everybody for tuning in. Let us know what you think. Peace out, you fuckers.
Got